but also to understand when you're trying to find out someone's rate, to know if you're really being quoted an accurate rate, because if you don't give all the data points and they don't ask you all the questions, then the rate that they are giving you is not worth the air that they're breathing when they're giving you the interest rate. Sounds dramatic, but it's so true. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and the Weeks team would love to help you with your financing. If you're in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, or Florida, we can help you out. 985-300-LOAN. Let's talk about interest rates. Let's talk about how to understand mortgage interest rates, because it can be so confusing. Let me tell you a quick little story. When I was probably around 20 years old, I was going to build a house. And I had already bought my first house at 18, and now I was getting rid of that house and I was going to build a house. Well, I thought that I was being like so smart by calling around, gathering a list of lenders, and then just calling, what's your rate? What's your rate? What's your rate? What's your rate? Well, learned the lesson the hard way. I ended up going with one of the lenders that quoted on the phone, without any data from me, by the way, their interest rate. And at that time, this was in the 90s, and by that time, or at that time, with excellent credit, the interest rates were around 6.875%. Yes, 6.875. Take that in for a minute for those people that are like, oh my God, the rate's 3.25%, it's so high. No, it's not. Absolutely, it's not. Anyway, so then I built the house and took about a year to do that. And as we got closer, I kept asking for, the closing date and the payment. Well, not until we get literally weeks from the closing do they explain to me that that interest rate was never locked, because that interest rate was not based on a build. It was actually based on an existing house and closing within 30 days. So now keep in mind, it's a year later. Now that year later, with great credit, interest rates were now at 8%. So I went to closing with an 8% interest rate and almost couldn't afford the house that I just literally spent blood, sweat, and tears to physically help to build, because we subbed everything out. We didn't have a contractor. So I would get up in the morning, like 6 in the morning, get up, go work out, drive to New Orleans, go to work from 8 to 5 from the North Shore of you might not be local, but anyway. So then I would drive an hour to New Orleans, work from 8 to 5, finish work at 5, go to school from 6 to 9, drive another hour back to the North Shore to then work some nights until midnight, physically like helping with the tile and the cleanup and the wallpaper and whatever. And so that really, really sucked to be done with that passion project and almost not afford it, because I got an 8% interest rate at that time. So the point is, you need to understand interest rates to understand how to look them up, and which is still going to be really difficult, and I'll explain that. But also to understand when you're trying to find out someone's rate, to know if you're really being quoted an accurate rate, because if you don't give all the data points and they don't ask you all the questions, then the rate that they are giving you is not worth the air that they're breathing when they're giving you the interest rate. Sounds dramatic, but it's so true. So when you go online and you try to shop with Google, what are mortgage interest rates, okay? Most interest rates posted are with the following data points. Now keep in mind, my opinion from what I see, averaging around 20 loans a month, is that 95% of people do not, yes, you heard it right, 95% of people do not fit in the box of this quoted amazing interest rate. Now, 5% do, and it's a valid rate available if you meet all those criteria, which most people will not. So, 740 or better credit score, conventional loan, a loan amount between $250 and around $640. Primary residence, not a second home, not an investment property. A single family residence, not a townhome, not a condo, not a 2-unit, not a 3-unit, not a 4-unit. A purchase, not a refinance. It's actually being quoted with buying points, which most people choose not to buy points. They're not a bad thing at all. Sometimes it makes sense. You can check that out in my video where I talk about interest rates and buying points more specifically. Based on a 30-year mortgage, and sometimes they're even quoting an ARM, which is an adjustable rate mortgage, means it's not even a fixed rate mortgage, right? So the second that your loan amount is $150,000, you don't qualify for that rate. The second that you're not putting down, oh, you know what? I left out a big part, 30% down. Yes. How many people do you think can afford to put 30% down? Not a lot. So that's another one of those data points that go into that rate that's being quoted the majority of the time. And the second that you choose not to buy points, you don't get that rate. If you're a VARD or FHA candidate versus a conventional candidate, you don't get that rate. If you're doing a 3% down conventional loan, yes, those are available, you don't get that rate. If you're doing a 5% down conventional loan, you don't get that rate. If you have a 680, you don't get the rate. If you're buying a condo instead of a single family, guess what I'm about to say? You know it, you ready for it? You don't get that rate. So it can be definitely disheartening and frustrating. And my point is, if I could go back in time and I was making all those phone calls, what's your rate, what's your rate, what's your rate? Now, most people aren't building, so that is a little bit of a different exception. Oh, and it's typically also based on a 30-day lock. So if you are buying a home, but y'all aren't closing for 60 days, guess what? You don't get that rate. So if I could go back in time and I would be making those calls, none of those people ask me any of these questions to turn around and give me what their interest rate was. None of them. Now I would say, well, wait a minute, you need to ask me questions because this is my scenario. I have a 740 or better credit score. I'm going to have 20% equity invested in the property when it's done. I'm actually building. So there's no way I'm going to be done building in 30 days. This could take me, as long as a year to get this done. So I need to take all those things into consideration. I already own the lot or I don't. I know I'm going off on the building tangent, but you're kind of getting the point. So if you're calling and you're trying to figure out what someone's interest rates are, then if you want to just avoid them giving you a rate and then you saying, well, wait, you got to ask me these questions. So if you're making that phone call, this is how it should go. I'm looking for your interest rate. I have a 720 credit score. I'm putting down 10%. I'm looking for a conventional loan. My loan amount's going to be around $300,000. My purchase price is going to be whatever. This is going to be my second home, not my primary residence. It's a purchase, not a refi. I'd love a rate with buying 1 point and then a rate without points so I can compare the difference. I only want a fixed rate quote. I won't want any type of ARMs. Looking for a 30-year mortgage, and I'm looking for a 45-day lock. What's your interest rate? So never leave the conversation with what's your interest rate, because you have to have all these data points to figure out what the interest rate's going to be. And that way then you know how to compare apples to apples. And you know what you're looking for and you know what to expect, and you should not have any surprises if you choose to lock in that interest rate and go ahead and move forward with that particular lender. Now, I want to throw out some other things for comparisons as well for you to keep in mind, but before I do that, if you have not subscribed, please do. If you haven't liked the video, please do. You can check out my course, Homebuyer 101, the Ultimate Mortgage Course, available for sale, and I will drop the link below. Gives you everything you need for a smooth and on-time closing. And if you're in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, or Florida, the Weeks team would love to help you with your financing. We would love it. And if you're not in those states, then I hope to hear from you that this video has truly helped you to secure the best interest rate and not have any surprises. That would make me really happy. But some of the other things to quickly consider, like let's say you're looking for a second mortgage. That's a whole different ball of wax of interest rates. Let's say you're looking for an investment property, whole different situation. Let's say you're looking for a multi-unit, whole different situation. Let's say that you're looking to refinance and you're just looking to pay off your balance and you only have one mortgage. Whole different situation than what we just talked about with the purchase as well. Let's say that you're looking to refinance and you are paying off one mortgage, but you have two and you want to leave that second mortgage in place. Whole different situation. Let's say that you want to pay off your existing mortgage and pay off a second. Whole different situation. Or let's say you want to pay off your existing mortgage and pay off your first and then pull some cash out. A whole different situation. So the bottom line is rates are very, very case and consumer specific. And as long as you have the knowledge and as long as you have this information, then you'll have everything you know to get the best interest rate, know what you're doing, and have a smooth and on-time closing. I'm Stephanie Weeks, and I've been doing this for over 18 years. And I appreciate you listening and watching, and I love sharing this information with you. I hope you find it helpful. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you're new to the channel, thank you and welcome. Please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button if you're enjoying the content, and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified every time I drop a new video, which is every week. I'm going to do a quick little plug because I built a first-time homebuyers massive mortgage education course that I usually charge $597 for, and I'm going to drop a link below for all of you to purchase it at $97. Words can't express. It's almost like growing a baby and having a baby. This course has been so much fun, and so much passion and so much dedication has gone into this to not only help you get a great loan approval, a great pre-approval, but also help you with a smooth and on-time closing. So enough of that.